Hey y'all, I'm James Wright. Welcome to my shop. And the question is Lie-Nielsen really worth that much? I mean, this is almost $400. Let's find out. So about a year ago, I did a big test on 26 affordable hand planes. I found hand planes that were under $100, and I asked the audience, hey, would any of you donate those to this so we can run the test, and then I'll give them back to you all tuned up and running well. And so we did that, and come to find out, some of them were good and some of them weren't. But the question came up, I didn't have a control in this test. I just tested one against the other. What would happen if we went out and actually spent almost $400 on a hand plane? Would this be that much better than all of those under $100 planes? And I thought, you know what, that would be really good to test out. But I don't have the money to go buy a $400 hand plane, and no one out there is going to go buy a brand new Lie-Nielsen and send it to me to test right out of the box, right? Oh my. Well, look what we got here. Yeah, Jim Thompson actually said, sure, I will do it. And he brought over one brand new out of the box. He had gotten it, but hadn't even opened it. I said, well, why don't you open it in front of me so that you can get the joy of opening a Lie-Nielsen? And that means now I get to take it through its test. We're gonna measure all of its parameters, blade thickness, sharpness, mouth openings, all the little things that go into making a great smoothing plane, and how does this actually perform out of the box? So enough of me talking. Let me take you over to the computer and have a closer look at the actual numbers behind this. Okay, let's come over here to the sheet. And if you've seen one of my videos before, you've seen these sheets. And this is where all of the data is at. You can actually come and see this and play with it yourself. I will leave a link to it down below so you can get that. Also at the top, you're going to see here weighted values. This is where you can come through and you can actually say how important are these items to you? How important is the actual time into setting it up? How important is it to the settings? Does it hold? How important is it all of these things? And so you can actually change these to anything you want. You can change them to a 9, a 10, a 109 if it's really that important to you. You can make these whatever you want. And as you change them, you'll notice that the score over here actually comes through and changes. So if I come out of that, now you can see all of these scores updated, except for the top one, which I'll explain that in a moment here. So you can see which of these would be the best for you by changing the weight to each individual item. If you do want to do that, you come up here to File, make a copy, and when you make a copy, you can edit that. You cannot edit my master here, sorry for that, but if you want to change those, make a copy and figure out what's best for you. Today we're talking about the Lie-Nielsen on the top, and it scored a 589, way higher than the next one, and you can see how it progresses, and it should be. But we'll be talking about that a little bit more and why it's not even higher than all the others. But if you come down here to the bottom, 134 for the Tolson tools. You can also see price score. So the higher the value, usually the lower down the list. You generally get what you pay for, though there are a few outliers, such as the $35 Graz. It's a number 6 way up here. And then you come down below, you're going to find other ones that are way more expensive, like this Rally way down here that isn't worth as much. Packaging. The Lie-Nielsen was a 9. It came in a cardboard box. Really well packaged, very, very well protected, but it's a simple cardboard box. The only one that did better than that, the Busy Bee, was in a really nice hard box, very beautiful padded box. That one was a joy to open. I think Lie-Nielsen could learn a little bit from that. Handles got a 9.5. The reason they didn't get a 10 was that they were covered with a film finish, and I just wanted to feel the wood. There was just a little bit too much finish on them, but they were beautifully done, absolutely gorgeous. Reminded me of the Busy Bees, very, very similar. If they came with just an oil on the wood, I would love them even more, but again, that's kind of a personal preference on mine. Flatness, the absolute flattest plane I have tested in this whole thing, dead on, perfect. I couldn't get a feeler gauge on it anywhere. It's an 11 out of 10. Why is it an 11 out of 10 rather than a 10 out of 10? Because I already gave a 10 here below, and it was better than that one, so I had to give it one more. In comparison, it should be like a 14 or a 15. It was dead flat, absolutely perfect. Iron thickness over here, it was the thickest iron that we tested out of all of these. Very, very thick, and yeah, kind of cool. Squareness to the cheek, not an incredibly important one, but it was dead on perfect. These other 10s were very, very close, but this was ever so slightly better. It was just, there was nothing I could do better. Yeah, absolutely perfect. Thickness of the sole. It was a 6 millimeter thick sole, which puts it up there with the thickest soles on this. Really, really solid stuff. Then let's slide on over farther. Thickness of the cheeks, 5 millimeters on both cheeks. It wasn't the thickest one, but it was very, very close to it. The ones that were thicker were the Busy Bee. They were all at the top of the list up here. Weight, it was a heavy booger. The heaviest plane that we tested, 4.6 pounds or 2.1 kilograms. It's a girthy booger. But yeah, score, it was also an 11 because these were 10s and it was more, so I gave an 11 to it. Mouth opening, had to adjust the mouth opening there because I moved the decimal point over. 1.1 millimeters, not a huge mouth opening, but not the smallest, and as you can see, some of these were much, much bigger. But I was able to adjust that one down to 0.2 millimeters. Incredibly tight mouth. I could not quite get it down smaller than the Gras, and part of that was because there was one little piece sticking out on the mouth, just a hair of a fraction, and if I cleaned that out with a file, I could move it down. But it was absolutely nitpicking, just a tiny hair that was stuck in there. Out of the box sharpness, it was the sharpest plane we tested straight out of the box. It was 165, which means it's razor ready to go. And I did just sharpen it, run it right out of the box, worked fantastically. Sharpness out of the box, it was a 10. Next closest one was an 8. It was beyond great. It was perfect. How much time does it get to take up and going? It took me 37 seconds to take the first shaving. I just had to adjust the depth and it cut. I didn't even have to touch the lateral and it cut. It was incredibly fast and easy to go. Sharpening, I did take it up a little bit higher right when I first got it, and I was able to get it up to a 95 sharpness. Crazy, crazy sharp. It didn't take me much time at all because it comes apart very easily. Second sharpening, after putting it back together, you can see very, very quick sharpening. Very easy to use. It scored 10 out of the initial setup. I really wouldn't need to do anything. I didn't give it a 9 because it was very, very close to the Tay tools. It took about the same amount of time to set up. And then when it comes over here for third test, I didn't need a third test. It worked perfectly. So chip breaker, I didn't need to adjust the chip breaker. It was all good to go. Nice fit on there. 10 out of 10. Then fourth test, it did not need a fourth test. Frog adjustment, to close up the mouth, it was actually the fastest out of them. It took me 50 seconds to adjust the frog closed, and I got a very, very tight mouth on that. Miscellaneous time and setup, moving things around with another 70 seconds. You can see very, very quick. And all around, it was the fastest plane to set up by a long margin. 251 seconds as opposed to 390 at the next, or much, much faster than the 2,400 seconds I needed for the Buck Brothers down here. It was so fast, it was in another league. And so for that case, it got a score of an 11 as opposed to the 10 of the Tay tools. Moving on down farther, we get the settings hold. These last three are a little bit subjective in that I'm kind of playing with it and seeing how long does it take to do things. It held settings perfectly. I never bumped it, never changed anything, and I put the blade back in and it worked great. Settings hold was absolutely superb, exactly what you expect. Ease of adjustability, it was the easiest to adjust of all of them, with the one exception of that small adjuster. That really annoyed me, is that the Lie-Nielsen has this small depth adjuster on there, and it's 2025. Put in a depth adjuster on that's easy to use, whether it be the Rob Cosman Star or the fine thread from Reed Planes. It needs to have an adjuster that is better than what's on there, because the adjuster that's on there is pretty crummy. It does adjust relatively easy, but you've got to have a good grip on there, and that knurling on there just isn't great. So I would love to see that adjuster changed. Overall, for me, it's an 11. Just a pure joy to use, a really, really good plane all around. And honestly, other than that small nitpicky thing of the adjuster, there isn't too much on it that I would change. All that being said, yeah, it is significantly better. Now, I expect it to be significantly better. It is almost 4 times the price. So I would hope that it would do better, but it really did. Out of the box, this thing cut beautifully. I didn't even need to sharpen it. It was the sharpest of all the planes. The sole was perfectly flat. The sides are perfectly square to it. Everything about this was amazing. It was really easy to adjust that frog in and out. I really, really enjoyed my time with the Lie-Nielsen. And if I had a significant amount of money and I were doing this for the pure fun of it, then yeah, I would probably change the color of my planes. And everybody loves these wispy shavings that almost float upwards rather than down. I love working with this thing. So is this actually worth $400? Well, it depends on you. If you're the type of person who has a lot of money and you want something to just work and not have to fuss with it, this is what you get. You buy something like this that just works. But if you don't have a whole lot of money, then you might want to find something a little more affordable. I mean, look at the attention to detail on this. Even the screws, all 3 of them from out of the box come clocked. They're all aiming this way. That amount of detail is what you're paying for. Do clocked screws and perfectly square sides really make that big a difference? Not really. But if you're the type of person where you're doing this for enjoyment, then it might, because everyone has a different list of things that are important to them. And so now the next question that everyone's going to be asking is about, what about Wood River? What about Veritas? What about Bench Dog? What about all these other planes? And the truth of the matter is, once you get past the $100, you're paying for what you get. And it's one of those things that if it costs more, it's going to be a better plane. It's probably going to perform a little bit better out of the box. Performance-wise, there gets to be a point where there's a diminishing return. The curve kind of flattens out. However, in fit and finish, they get better and better and better. And you can go up from $400 to $500, $600, $1,000, $2,000, $4,000 for a smoothing plane that's new. And after that point, you're really paying for the fit and finish and the detail and the name and all of the little intricacies that might go into the plane. So I hope this answered a few questions for you in comparison of the affordable planes to the not so affordable planes. And I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas and comments down below. And I do want to say a huge thank you to Jim for letting me borrow a brand new plane. I actually got to use it before he did. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to sending it back to you. I do also want to say a huge thank you to all the patrons on Patreon, everyone scrolling over on the side. You guys are the ones that keep this channel going. So thank you. Without you, we wouldn't be here. If you'd like to find out more about that, think about becoming a patron on Patreon. More information on that down below. I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Finally, I'm glad I can answer the question, can money buy you happiness? Yes. If you spend $400 on a hand plane, you had better be happy.